This channel leans heavily into adventure-style vlogging, mixing exploration with mystery, quiet tension, and the thrill of pushing boundaries. Tom, the host, is known for slipping into restricted areas, chasing rumors, and filming in places most people would never dare step foot in, including some of the most secretive zones in the United States, like Area 51. His content blends suspense with dry humor and unfiltered reactions to whatever unfolds in front of him. In March 2037, Tom and his team headed deep into the remote desert edge, skirting the infamous military base. Almost immediately, subtle signs of military activity began revealing themselves. Dusty service roads that looked freshly driven, crisp tire tracks, and locals whispering about camouflage patrol teams sweeping the region. They even spotted Ford Raptors cruising the outskirts, vehicles commonly tied to base security, which only added to the growing sense that they were inching a little too close to the line.
There's dirt road. I don't know, 10, 15, 20 miles. I don't know how far you're going. Jesus. Does that mean I can't take any video? Alright, so found a sort of back trail. I don't know exactly what it's used for. Maybe one of the trails of the camel guys. Military police security. Something, because hill that they sit on, it's up over that, right over there. I swear this is just the most beautiful area. Way underrated. Here, let's get higher up here.
Wanting a clearer vantage point, the group followed an unmarked dirt path, hoping a bit of elevation would give them a distant view of the facility. As they trekked across the harsh terrain, they pointed out several ridges rumored to be used by perimeter scouts, spots where security personnel could watch anyone daring enough to wander near the restricted border.
Have that Ford Raptor. I don't know. I don't see any road or tire tracks right over in this spot, although there is a walking path or path for something. So up over that hillside is where they are. It's like a mile, half mile, something like that though. So we're thinking if we get up over to this ridge, we might get a look at something. It's never ending, I swear to God. Lisa, get the keys, go! Go! Go, go, go! Lisa. Lisa.
But when they crossed one of those ridges, everything shifted. For a split second, a pale, tan-colored figure appeared in the distance, so perfectly blended with the desert backdrop that it looked like the landscape itself had moved. The sight felt unnatural, wrong, and immediately set off instinctive alarms. The team didn't debate or joke, they reacted. They backed away from the ridge fast and sprinted toward their vehicle with a sense of genuine fear. Nothing about their reaction seemed staged. Whatever they saw, they believed it wasn't safe. The figure could have been a camouflaged operative or someone in advanced desert blending gear, a tactic sometimes used to warn civilians they've wandered too close to a sensitive zone. And if that was the intention, it worked flawlessly. The team left without hesitation. Though the footage offers no definitive answer, the moment raises unsettling questions about the unseen surveillance and ground presence surrounding these heavily controlled areas. Was the figure a security agent deliberately revealing itself to push them back? Or was it something much more unusual? Its near-perfect camouflage suggests intentional design and purpose. Was this simply enforcing a hidden boundary? Or did Tom and his crew accidentally brush up against something far stranger than military activity? What exactly do you think was waiting just beyond that ridge? This Australia-based channel is dedicated to tracking and documenting Yowie activity, scary camping encounters that blur the line between myth and reality. On this outing, the creator returns alone to a spot known for creepy forest stories and earlier discoveries that never quite left his mind. His plan is simple, almost ritualistic. Revisit the site, cook some noodles, eat an apple, and quietly listen for anything out of place while scanning the ground for fresh tracks. Most of his terrifying wilderness encounters have happened in the late afternoon, and he hopes today will follow that same unsettling pattern.
So I'm coming out now, check the usual spot for prints. I've probably only got like a good 2 hours out here, so I got to head home. But I'm going to do what we always do, and it's good because we haven't been out in a while in the afternoons with this time. It's usually always morning, early morning now. But every time I've had my encounters, experiences, whatever you want to call them, have been, well, the main two, it's sticky. Forgot I should have left my sunnies in the car. The main two have been at this time in the afternoon, a little bit later, but I'll be sitting out there and listening. So it's good that we're out here today at this time. And like I said, same thing again. Head up to the rock pools. I'm going to cook some noodles because I'm bloody starving. And then listen. Go up to the X marker, maybe sit up near there, see if that other weird animal, that mammal that we saw last time, which it looked like a quoll, like an orange quoll. It was bigger than a possum. But since then I was told that possums can have this genetic thing where they go all orange or red. Like a red possum or something they call it, I don't know. We gotta look it up, but that's what I've been told. And I was like, oh, that could have been what it was, because we're not standing up on its back legs, scratching or sniffing at the tree, at the base of the tree.
He sets off, mentioning that his recent trips have mostly been early morning ventures. But the strangest and most unforgettable incidents in his real-life scary stories always seem to occur later in the day, which is why he's out now. After a short walk through the silent bushland, he reaches the familiar clearing and begins the routine he's followed so many times before.
Where we found that possible juvenile. No way. Is this the same one? Look at this. This is old, but the big toe goes right up around the outside again. So that's a right foot then. And that's the exact same. Okay, you can see that line there, really wide. This one again, really wide. It's like the exact same dimensions that we've been finding. Where's it go from there? In the water? I don't know. Like, unless this is just a kid with an extremely wide foot and a huge big toe that's bigger than an average adult's toe. That's pretty much what we've been finding. And this has been found, as you've seen from the other videos, way up the creek that we go. And no one in their right mind would let their kid go that far up barefoot. But being that they've been that far up barefoot, we didn't find any others.
As he pushes deeper along the trail, his attention snaps toward the same creek crossing where he once found something odd. Embedded in the mud is another footprint, wide, flat, and showing a large, defined toe. It looks eerily similar to impressions documented farther upstream. He notes that it could be a warped human track, or even someone playing a prank, but the lack of surrounding human prints and the consistent width, depth, and alignment of the toe make it hard to dismiss. To compare, he places his boot next to it, pointing out how a normal boot print curves and arches at the heel. Features this print does not have. The differences stir speculation of a Yowie track, though he stops short of claiming anything definitive.
High activity here from kangaroos. That's way more than usual. So more game in the area. We go up there, which that leads up over to the top of the dam. More game in the area is a good thing. Predators. It's either mine or someone else's. Last time I came. So there's someone else's that's been up here. It could still be up here. Might come put some. Maybe they've got a kid with extremely large feet.
Farther down the trail, he notices an unusual amount of kangaroo and wallaby movement, far more than what he's used to seeing. The sudden spike in wildlife activity suggests a lively prey environment, and where prey gathers, predators may follow. Assuming creatures like the Yowie are more than folklore whispered in scary videos.
I dare say this was someone. 2 different sticks. I just don't think there'd be a reason for them to do it like that. Like Yowies, if that's the case. I reckon someone's done that. It's come up here, maybe watching my videos, who knows. But I don't think that was, Yowie done. Of course, no one's an expert. I'm not an expert, I don't know. But that just looks like something that a human would do. Specifically with this subject being what it is in this area. I'm pretty open about where I go. I'll check the footage from before and see if that was there. On the way up just then. Because if it wasn't, then that's going to be very interesting.
Still, he keeps a level head, knowing the wilderness can easily mislead anyone eager for answers. Near the rock pools, he leaves his apple and some gear behind, hoping to catch any unexpected interaction on camera while he steps away. Along the path, he finds a rock that seems to have been yanked from the bank and dropped unnaturally on the trail. A little farther on, 2 more stones appear arranged in a deliberate-looking pattern, almost like markers. He notes the strangeness, but avoids jumping to conclusions. It could just be the work of passing hikers or even viewers familiar with his channel. When he returns, the apple and gear remain untouched, but his phone has mysteriously stopped recording part of the trek. Likely a technical glitch, though it adds an eerie weight to the day's coincidences. The trip winds down with a quiet bowl of noodles beneath the calm afternoon sky. Even with his skeptical mindset, the recurring appearance of nearly identical prints across remote areas, each one uniform in size and shape, remains difficult to ignore. Maybe the stones and oddities are random, but the context makes them feel intentionally placed. Could all of this be simple misinterpretation and subtle human interference? Or is something far more elusive leaving its mark in this hidden corner of Australia's wilderness? LPZ is a YouTube creator known for his raw, unfiltered survival style. A lone camper wandering some of the most remote and unpredictable places on Earth. There's no dramatic editing, no scripted narration, no polished production. Just one person, a tent, and whatever nature throws at him. That authenticity is exactly what pulls viewers in. But on July 16th, 2016, one routine solo trip turned into one of the most terrifying wilderness encounters he had ever documented. He had set up deep in untouched backcountry, far from any roads or villages. The plan was simple: solitude, quiet, and a night immersed in nature. The first hours were peaceful. No odd sounds, no wildlife circling camp, nothing to hint at danger. But just after 2 a.m., everything shifted. While lying inside his tent, he felt it, an overwhelming instinct that something was wrong. No noise triggered it, just a primal, ancient alarm echoing through his nerves. Seconds later, that instinct proved frighteningly accurate. From somewhere beyond the faint glow of his camp, a deep, earth-shaking roar ripped through the darkness. There was no mistaking it, the roar of a lion. And based on how violently the ground vibrated beneath him, it was close. Very close. This was no imagined threat. This was real, raw, and happening right outside the thin fabric shielding him from the night. Lions don't typically hunt people, but when you're completely alone, unarmed, and separated from the outside world by nothing but a nylon tent wall, statistics mean nothing. Keeping absolutely still, he slowly began to film. He didn't yell. He didn't unzip the tent. He knew any sudden movement or noise might draw the lion's attention. There was no vehicle to retreat to, no blazing fire for protection. No weapon, just darkness and a predator stalking the outskirts of his camp. The next few minutes stretched on like an eternity. He focused on every breath, fighting to stay calm as adrenaline surged. The lion didn't attack, but it also didn't immediately leave. Its heavy presence lingered at the edge of camp, filling the silence with a fear no camera can truly capture. When the final roars eventually faded into the distance, the threat moved on. But the impact didn't. Sleep was impossible. What began as a peaceful escape had become a long, silent battle to stay composed. By sunrise, he emerged physically unharmed, but the look in his eyes made it clear. He had been shaken to his core. Out here, nature sets the rules. Humans only borrow space.
Imagine we were inside.
What made the encounter so terrifying wasn't just the lion itself. It was his complete exposure. No fence, no steel, no separation at all. Viewers later speculated why the lion approached. Territorial instinct, curiosity, the scent of food, or maybe it was simply passing through. Whatever the reason, his decision to remain completely still was likely what kept the situation from escalating into a tragedy. The moment stands as a chilling reminder that in the wild, survival depends not on strength or bravado, but on instinct, restraint, and respect for forces far greater than us. In July 2023, Valerie was hitchhiking across the sweeping plains of Kazakhstan, making her way toward Aristan Bab to visit a striking old mausoleum. She reached the area later than expected, and instead of taking a room at a nearby guest house, she chose to camp alone in an open field with the mosque glowing faintly in the distance. What should have been a peaceful night under the stars slowly shifted into one of those creepy forest stories, the kind that starts quietly, without warning.
I was in Turkestan hitchhiking to Aristan, and it was pretty late in the evening, 7:30 p.m. I'm just a few hundred meters away from the city center in Turkestan, And it's sad to see, but it looks like a different world. The streets are full of potholes. They're scattered everywhere. The contrast is very big. Like the huge buildings and the fountains. Yeah, it's the same city, right?
And a few moments later, I had my lift to Aristanbad.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Love you. So lucky I met this family. They were so sweet. And they took me like 1 hour from Turkestan to Aristanbad. I wanted to come here because there's a beautiful mausoleum and a mosque, and it's a bit more rural here. It was like dirt road, nothing to see, but yeah, that's Kazakhstan. I love that. So cool. And now, I'm looking for a spot to set up my tent.
The field behind the mausoleum was not really accessible because of a stream, but there was another field with a view of the mosque.
Okay, I found a good spot here on the field. I have to be quick now though, because the sun is setting and I don't want to use my light because then the mosquitoes will bite me. Woo! My first night in a tent in Kazakhstan. My first night in this tent also. It's very basic, but it brought me here, so it's good. I'm thankful I have it, because tent always means flexibility, and that's what I love. Actually, the driver brought me to a guest house, which is like 200 meters from here, and thought I wanted to sleep there, but then I said, no, actually I have my tent with me, and I said I will just go to the fields. Yeah, then I will sleep because I think it's going to be very hot in the morning. And I want to see the mausoleum for sunrise. Good night.
About an hour after drifting off to sleep, the sound of hooves stirred her awake. Horses wandered close to her tent, and when she unzipped it to peek outside, the soft shapes of their silhouettes drifted through the darkness. Moments later, a vehicle rolled up. It was the landowners checking on their animals. Nothing felt threatening yet, but the intrusion broke the calm of the night and hinted at the real-life scary stories that travelers sometimes face far from home.
I had probably slept for 1 hour until I heard a noise. It was the horses coming closer to my tent.
Hello.
So I opened the door to watch them and welcome them. But then a car approached.
There is someone in the car. I hope he doesn't mind me camping here on his ground.
Қазақша білмейді екен деп ағыз.
WhatsApp берші, жаңа телефон.
Bye bye. Thank you. Katarahmat. Thank you. Bye. What was that? It was so weird. Okay, so obviously these people are the owner of the field and the horses. So they came to check on them and they saw my tent, and I was already watching the horses. So I went outside to speak with them and ask them if it's okay that I sleep here on their field. And we Google Translate for maybe like half an hour, and it didn't really work. Maybe they spoke an accent or something. I don't know. Anyways, I couldn't really understand it, but we were passing my phone all the time, and then all of a sudden he switched to photos.
I don't know, maybe probably by accident, but he started scrolling through all of my pictures and he was so interested in seeing where I was. And also he really wanted to know what am I doing here, whether I would not like to sleep in a homestay instead, and like what about my parents? Am I married? This is also the question I get every time, like, what's my name? And then, are you married? Like, everyone, eventually I got my phone back. They were so interested and they wanted to have my WhatsApp number. I don't know why. And yeah, eventually they left and then they returned. And I was like, what's the problem now? I went all the way back after 5 minutes to ask me for my Instagram name and my YouTube. This one.
By 3 a.m., the night took a darker turn. Valerie jolted awake to a noise outside her tent. The same man had returned, but this time he was alone. He tried touching the tent flap and made unsettling kissing gestures toward her through the fabric. Every instinct screamed danger. She stayed awake until morning, gripping her cutlery like improvised weapons, listening to each shift in the grass, every whisper of movement. It became one of those scary camping encounters where the threat isn't supernatural, but terrifyingly human.
I can't believe I just called this man friendly. I'm so disappointed. It's 3 a.m. I heard a noise, someone was saying something. I opened the door of my tent and then he was there again, like very close. And he was like making a kissing gesture. I said, what? I was still like, I didn't understand what was going on because I just woke up and he really tried to go into my tent. I had to stop him and push him away and he said, what are you doing? No. Like clearly said, no. And he wouldn't understand, like he wouldn't want to understand. I was like in such a shock because I didn't get why, like what was happening. And I kept saying no. And he wanted to still like come inside. Eventually he said, yeah, phone to speak, like Google Translate. And I said, no, leave me alone. No, go. And I think I said this for 2 minutes straight until he finally left. But man, I've never had that before. And yeah, now he went back into his car. I don't know, will he return or not? So it's a bit stupid situation right now. And I mean, so sad because they were friendly and stuff, but this really destroyed it, unfortunately. And it was the first time I didn't really feel 100% safe. I mean, I was sure that one day I will face these kind of situations, but yeah, it just didn't happen to me yet. Yeah, now I placed my cutlery next to me just in case. I don't think he will come back, but you never know. I think I would just catch some more hours of sleep and then make a move somewhere. Yeah, not the best feeling for sure.
The experience left a mark, one that lingered long after sunrise. It rattled her confidence, the very courage she relied on to travel the world solo. But when daylight finally broke, she gathered her gear, steadied her nerves, and continued toward the mausoleum she'd come all this way to see. She refused to let one person's predatory actions rewrite her story. Even shaken, she pushed forward, turning a night of camping gone wrong into a reminder of her resilience rather than her fear.